Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of One Question, One Answer. We are back, and I'm really excited. You might see that there's some things in front of me, so before I drone on, that's good, right? That was good. Okay, so seriously, we're here with Print Entertainment Group, P.E.G. Really excited to have them back. They were here for the Pokemon, which Josh, it was one of our most viewed episodes, and we're going to come back to in a year because not so good. Not so good right now. We're talking off camera, yeah. But we're here today to talk about drones. So, guys, just jump in here. You were here today doing a demonstration for the IKEA team. We're learning a lot. We want to help our clients learn a lot. What are we looking at? What am I looking at here? What is this? What are you guys talking about this morning?
Yeah, well, this is a quadricopter drone. We use it for aerial photography and video work. This has been kind of a big trend around the industry lately. You know, it used to be if you wanted to get a wide sweeping aerial shot, you would need to commission a helicopter or an airplane and work out a flight plan, and there'd be some huge rental costs. Now drones are becoming a little more mainstream, and that kind of applies to video world too. So this drone is a 4K capable, high frame rate capable drone. It shoots to RAW as well, which is big in video world for a lot of color correction, and especially when you're up where sun can really drastically affect the shot up and down. When you're talking about a really sometimes intense setup shot, you really need that flexibility to be able to control color kind of in post. So anyway, this is a 2-pilot based system. So basically Andrew would serve as a pilot, for example, and Josh would serve as a co-pilot. Andrew would control the actual drone itself, and Josh would control the camera system. And then there's also, we utilize a safety spotter to comply with federal regulations on that type of thing.
Yeah.
This drone is capable of going about a mile away, even in our real world tests. That's not like from the manufacturer. That's actually like we've gone and tested it at a mile away with a spotter. Okay. And it will do live video streaming, so you can even integrate it potentially into a live production, though really its specialty is pre-produced videos that you would do for a variety of clients. And a lot of times where you see these used the most is in establishing shots. You know, usually at the beginning of a video you want to, hey, where is this whole being set at? Or these big wide sweeping shots that would show a big corporate office, for example. Or even inside of an office. I mean, a lot of people have really huge investments in their warehouse floors with machinery, and they love to show off all the capabilities. You can actually even take these indoors in a warehouse with enough space and fly them right through a warehouse and get a really cool sweeping shot. So, they have a lot of different applications, and we're just sort of diving into it. And this is probably our most advanced unit. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. And you can do a lot of really interesting shots that you previously would never have been able to get.
So you're saying that the 2-pilot, just to make sure I understand, so these are both each of you would have a handheld here.
Yeah.
And then is this integrated with I see it's a tablet. Is that part of it? I mean, is that just part of the technology now? You can actually do that, so you're watching where it's going, or you geo-tracking it? Like, what's...
So the way it works, it the drone itself actually streams the video back to the controllers. That it doesn't actually interface with the iPad at all. The controllers connect to the iPad, and through the manufacturer's app, it displays what video we're seeing.
Okay.
So it's really useful for us to have an iPad on each controller so that we can kind of work through our shot as we fly. If we notice that, like, oh, that was a little shaky, let's do it again. We can't, it's nice to have that preview system. If we didn't have it, it would be almost impossible to get nice shots for, like, those open, like he said, those sweeping, like, whole company shots where you see the whole building as you're coming in.
Yeah.
It'd be impossible to try and guess if we're looking up at a drone, like what we're seeing. So it streams the video to the controllers, and then the controllers send it to the devices that are connected to them.
Yeah, and that controller is also capable of doing a real-time output to a larger display like a TV or a client preview system. So if you have somebody who really says, they have in their mind, I want this to look exactly like this. We're inside, I need to see these 3 pieces of equipment, and, to keep everybody's time is valuable. So to keep it so, hey, they're knowing exactly what we're shooting. We can say our pilots are going to have their system with all their controls, and the client's going to have a separate clean feed where they're looking and saying, yep, I see all 3 of the things I want to see in the frame. That shot's perfect. We can actually even remotely review clips in the air. So we could just finish a move, say, I think that's perfect. Let's hover this at a safe place. We'll have the spotter keep an eye on it. Client, we're going to play it back. Just make sure this is exactly what you want. And they can just check it out right there on site.
Oh, that's great. I know a lot of our clients would appreciate that and having a chance to see it. Speaking of that, is this so if I'm talking to a client about understanding this and wanting them to use it, because obviously we want them to feel comfortable with it, but we also would rather them not get in trouble. We would love to work with them, with our clients, but if for some reason they have another partner or something like that, or anybody watching is working with partners in this area, can anybody just go buy a drone and do this? Or there certain, you were telling a story off camera about certifications or something that didn't sound like it could have ended so well, but you guys are certified and there's a story there, right? So Andrew, what's the story?
So as of today, Josh and I are both, we both have our pilot's license, so we can take this guy out and fly it in the, fly it legally in the different areas that the FAA allows us to. But when we were kind of looking to everything, we were following all the legal forms and everything, and it's just a really complicated process. So before the law changed, kind of the whole format was you had to fill out all this paperwork right off the bat. So if you weren't a lawyer, it took about just the average person around 80 hours to fill out this paperwork.
Jeez.
And then you would fill it in, and it was a 9-month turnaround. It wasn't you got approved or not. It was just you would hear back from the FAA in 9 months, and they'd be like, you're good or you're not good, and then there'd be another 6 months after that. It was an insanely long process, but one of the small things about it was you actually needed to get a pilot's license. And
Is it different from a regular pilot's license? I mean, do you get a bomber jacket like aviators?
Well, I mean, I have that.
You have
That's
because if I had a pilot's license, I would certainly get this.
That's just who I am. So it's a nice touch. It's a great cold open when it meets someone. Oh, by the way, I'm a pilot.
You're a pilot. I mean, totally.
I don't know if you can tell. I'm giving off that aura right now, but one of the ways around it that people kind of found, because it was very like wild west. It was like, there's really no set path to do it. There's all these different workarounds, and one of them was you could get a pilot's license to fly a hot air balloon.
Oh,
so technically still a pilot's license.
So it was a multiple day course. It wasn't offered in the state of Ohio, so we had to go a couple states away. I think it was like Indiana. And the idea was I was going to go out to Indiana for about like a week and get my hot air balloon license. And then literally the day we were starting the paperwork that takes 80 hours, they changed the law. And they were like, we have a new structure. It's a test that we have you take. It's still a lot of things that all pilots know, but it's really focused on drone and drone safety, and where you can fly, where you can't fly, how to read flight maps, what different airports mean, and it's kind of now more focused on actual drone instead of being, you could probably still, the way the law works, probably, if you had the hot air balloon license, you're still good with the law change. Real shame. That would be a real nice bonus thing for me to be able to fly.
I mean, not many people can say that you can fly a hot air balloon. I mean, but that's just shows how much you guys, I mean, not to toot your own horn here, but you guys would have done that. I mean, you do a lot of things for us, do a lot of things for your clients, our clients. So it's nice to know that you guys were figuring out a way to actually do this, but it's also nice to know that the rule changed, so you didn't have to go do that. So now it's easier to get certified. I shouldn't say easier, but a little bit more streamlined to get certified.
And that being said, if you're just flying a drone for fun, you don't have to have a pilot's license. But if you're actually doing it for a commercial purpose, you cannot, you can't sell your footage.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. So that is a law. You need to have certification for this. It is actually part of the commercialization process.
There's minor.
So basically, you have to have there's a number specific to you as a pilot, like to your device. And if you have it on the device and it's recreational, you're going to do whatever you want with it. I mean, you'll see people flying them in parks or flying them, in public spaces, and those people probably don't know all the in-depth rules of it. But as long as the biggest penalty is to try and sell your footage from your drone commercially without a license. If you do that, that's where you get in trouble. So right now, like with us having 2 licensed pilots, we're good on that.
That's great.
But that's something that you would definitely want people to know. Like, do not go out there and just start flying and selling footage, because you will get in trouble with the FAA, and it's a hefty fine. So.
And that's what we that's what we need to know for our clients. That's valuable.
And to be clear, I mean, when we say they have pilot's license, that doesn't really give them free reign to actually do whatever they want. It just means that they know all of the rules that they still need to follow. So basically, it's a twofold thing. To shoot anything commercially, you need to have that license, which they're both licensed. And you actually only need one of them on the shoot, but having them both allows even more coverage. And of course, the system requires 2 people just to operate it, so it's even better that way. But it also means that they know the basic rules that you must comply with to operate a drone commercially. Anyway, even if you have a license, that license just says, hey, you are allowed to execute a flight while still following these basic rules. And there are some that you need to follow to do any sort of shoot.
So real quick to recap, good to know you can have a lot more diversity in terms of shooting. elements of different photo shoots or video shoots that you didn't necessarily get to do before. So you had a lot more depth to traditional shoots and have a lot more flexibility, obviously. Second thing is there is a need to have the certification there and understanding not only from a technology standpoint, but a compliance standpoint. So last question, and this is obviously the gig's up on this, it's called one question, one answer, but we ask more than one question. But we will go a quick lightning round here as we end. So, and you guys, whoever wants to go first can jump in. Tell clients watching, people watching, what's a myth? It sounds expensive. You know, what is a myth here that you would love to shoot down as we talk about all the different ways people could use it? Something that they think that maybe isn't necessarily the case.
Yeah, I'll hop in. Well, I'm the resident safety guy at P.E.G. And I think one of the big things for a lot of people when talking to just anyone who doesn't really know much about it is that it's like, oh, a drone, it's not worth the risk. Yeah. You type in drone, I think the third thing that comes up in Google or YouTube is drone space crash. It's what you see. And I think the big thing is you're seeing a lot of people there who just aren't following safety guidelines. Yeah. I mean, we follow everything the FAA requires and then some. We go way beyond like what the FAA requires to make sure that we're following every safety feature, every safety requirement, and then things that people don't even, like, it's not asked for. Like, when you look at what the FAA wants you to do, we go way beyond that. So you see people who, like, the drone falls out of the sky. Well, I mean, that can happen, but they're also way too high. They're just not flying smart. Right. They're not flying smart, they're not flying safe. So we take the necessary, requirements to make sure that we're doing everything by the book, legally, and the safest way possible. Yeah, okay, good. So it's a lot safer than you think, plus... obviously you won't say it, so I'll say it. You guys have invested a lot of time and resources into being able to say that. Right. So I think that's a huge thing, and obviously I know you guys do great work, but it is something for people to keep in mind. Tell me something else, Ryan, or Jeffrey. I'm sorry, Ryan's over there.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think my answer to expand on that is a lot of people think that it's it is. We talk about all these rules, and it sounds like it's an impossible thing to do. But it's almost just like, if you're contracting a contractor to build your house, you don't need to know any of those rules. It's their job to know, hey, this is how this works. I'm going to give you some heads up if there's a problem there. I mean, like if you, for instance, approach us to a drone shoot, you don't need to really know about any of these rules. Frankly, I mean, that's kind of what we're here for. Yeah. So before a shoot, we can actively say, okay, you want to shoot an office building. Okay, what's the address? Let's make sure it's in the right flight. Basically complies with the right flight codes, because there are some like, hey, if you're a plant that's right next to an airport, can't do it. Yeah. But that's stuff that we worry about. I mean, you don't really need to worry about all that. I mean, from our side of things, it's basically as easy as we would like to do these 8 shots. Is there any problem with those? We can actively look at them and say, these 6 are no problem. The 7th one, there's a power line there. Can we move it over to here? This one, this is the safe, legal flight, ceiling. We can't go over that. So, I mean, that's the stuff we need to worry about. So I think my big myth would be like, it's complicated. It's complicated, but that's for us to worry about. Yeah. So the more things that I don't know or our clients don't know, the better, because you know them all. And that's a comfort for us, I think, because there is so much, obviously, that we would need to be aware of the things you just listed. I'm sure there's more even than that, but that's a sampling of things that it's nice to know. We don't have to worry about choosing the right partner. Yep. Josh, last but not least.
I think my myth would be kind of something that Andrew touched on, is just don't get jaded by the internet. Like, don't go and see those crash videos and think, man, like that must be the hardest thing in the world. It's just like anything else in your life. Just build a plan, practice. Like, I don't want people to see those and think I could never fly a drone. Look how bad that looked. Like he just crashed into a tree or something bad like that. Don't get jaded by those videos. Like if this is something you want to do, do your research, explore it, build a plan, and just practice.
So it's actually a lot more doable, low risk than people may think it is.
Yeah, I mean,
is what I'm seeing.
For a recreational pilot.
To work with a partner. I mean, it's like if you go through the right channels, you wouldn't pick up a video and shoot your own video. Right. A video camera and shoot your own video. Same thing is true here. You would work with the right partner. Yeah. Right. So
if anything, it's almost it's more difficult. Again, something for us to worry about, because you need to. When they're operating this, they're following the same things they need to think about when they're shooting any video on the ground. They're thinking about framing, they're thinking about exposure, all the stuff that, you usually be worried about with a professional video camera, but then you add that second layer of where are we going to be flying this thing, who's in the area, how do we do it safely, where's this shoot located? I mean, that's all just, more stuff that is on our checklists when we go through and do a shoot.
Right. Good. Well, is there any truth to the rumor that you would be using this to shoot the Cleveland Indians World Series parade in a couple weeks?
I mean, if we're asked.
Okay. Go Tribe. Go Tribe. Thanks, guys. This has been great.
No problem.
Really appreciate it. I learned a little bit more. I've been following you guys in terms of how you've been learning and really helping us to help our clients learn too. So really appreciate it. Good stuff. So thanks a lot. Thanks everybody for watching. We went a little long. Hopefully you found it valuable, and we will see you next week.